Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at Ethereum. Before we jump into the price action, I just want to say thank you for watching. If you're enjoying the content, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and why not leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description below you'll find a link to the Discord. Why not come check it out? It's free to join. Once in the general chat area, just mention a member of staff and we'll be happy to help you out. So for the most part, we're still looking for the same options, whether we're actually in this white wave 4 or alternatively whether this wave 3 is extending out a bit here. We're going to go over a few of the bearish and bullish options within these scenarios, and then we can see how the waves react from those points. So effectively, like I said, either we're looking at this wave 4 still playing out and we have a bigger corrective structure here where we're going to get something like this as a ABC, as a flat, or potentially a WXY. It's a bit unclear at the moment. There is also a potential of a triangle. So there's a few things going on. But if we're looking at this more short-term bearish option, effectively what we'd be looking for is something like this. So effectively we were looking at this potentially as a W, X, and then looking for Y, which could take us down to this 1539 at a 1-to-1. Alternatively, we could be looking at this as an ABC, which we could look to actually push down further. Typical zone would be this 1549 to this 1501 area. So what we'd be looking for here is, if we were looking at this as a WXY, then we'd want to see three wave structures. So we can argue that potentially we have an ABC forming here. We actually did come back up to this 1-to-1 area and we have actually started to move away. So it'll be interesting to see whether we continue to progress to the downside here, or whether we actually look to break above this and invalidate it. Moving down would be invalidated by the 1714 area. Though if it is a WXY, we can get a flat correction in here and it can move up, take this high, and then actually break down. So we need to just be careful of that fact. So if we're looking for this WXY, what we'd want to see is this move start to progress down here in a C wave. It can also be a 3-wave move where we find resistance again here and then look to break down. If we're looking at it as a 3-wave move, effectively we can argue that this is potentially completed an ABC here to this low point, and what we'd be looking for is potential to actually come back up into this zone and retest some of these fib areas. So 50% would be an interesting one, all the way up to the 786, which would be at this 1686 to this 1675. So we can see that 50% is actually on this little bit of consolidation here. So if we do actually move up, face rejection there, it could lead to a sell-off to the downside. If we throw this fib onto here, basically we'd have to go into there. If we do come back up into this 50%, a 1-to-1 would actually bring us back down here into the middle of this channel, and also look to potentially retest this sloping channel that we have sort of broken out of here. So if we do move down there in an ABC pattern, effectively what we could then have is the problem is we would want to see a 5-wave structure. So it wouldn't really fit into the fact of matching this A wave. We would have to argue it could potentially still be a B wave, where this is an A, a B, and then we push up one more time for a C, and then we look to push down at a later date. So that's something we're just going to have to keep an eye on here, that even if we do move down to this 1-to-1, we could just see a move play out like this, where we're actually still within the B wave and we'd look to move up again and then break down. So if we're looking at this as a 3-wave move, this could start to get more choppy within here, where we actually break down, move up, and then actually look to sort of progress in that manner. The alternative is that we could be forming this C wave. So I'm going to actually just turn this off so that it is a little bit clearer. So if we're talking about a C wave, we were talking about two things. We were talking about the possibility of a 1-2. Let me go over this other one first because this is invalidated. So we're talking about the possibility of having a 1-2, 1-2, and then we've actually broken this high point. So this is not valid anymore. So we can put this one aside. The alternative that we were looking at is that we could have a simple impulse. We were looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 into this point here. And then we could actually look at this as an ABC to the upside for wave 2. So this is, we can see we've come up just a little bit higher here than this 1-to-1 was. So that would be the 1695. So as long as we actually stay below the 1695, it is also possible we could still see this play out as a 1, 2, and then looking for this third wave to the downside. So 15, 55, 50 would be confirmation of this, in which case we could then look for a fourth wave and a fifth wave to the downside. This would actually potentially take us here down into this 1543 to this 1523 zone. Though we don't have any confirmation of this yet, the structure at the moment is just looking corrective within this move. So we just got to be careful, because it could be that we have a bigger corrective move here, where this is an A, potentially form a B, and then we look to push up one more time for a C. So if we come into this high point and we go into here, for instance, so that one-to-one would actually take us above this high, but it is also possible we complete this further down. But like I said, we have this as an A, this becomes an A, B, and a C. We come back down a little bit lower, and this move could get a bit more complex, potentially look to come back here and test this B wave. And then we could see something play out like this as an A, a B, and then a push to the upside here for the C. That one-to-one, like I said, would take us over this high point, which would invalidate all these potential impulses to the downside. So we're just mapping these for the possibility this could start to break down. If we were looking at it as a move that is starting to break down from here, currently we wouldn't have that good structure. The only way we could argue it would be, I just need to check something. Within the structure, so it can't be a diagonal because of the fact, I suppose it can be, as long as this fifth wave is longer than 3. So we could get a diagonal here, or alternatively we could be looking at a 1 2 1 2, and then this starts to progress to the downside, though we'd only get really confirmation of that if we get a deeper drop past this 16 22 22. If we do move down past that zone, what we can say is that we've had depends how we want to look at this, 1 2 3 4 5 into there. I'm going to just leave this like this for now. So we could potentially still be looking at a 5-wave move to the downside here, though this would actually get invalidated by moving past the 1689. If we don't move higher than this zone, we could, like I said, get a 1 2 situation playing out here. The zone of rejection for this, if I come off this low point here, I'm just going to actually do this and get rid of this one. So if we're looking at this, we could potentially still come higher. We did come up to that 50%, but it is possible we get this as an A, a B, and a C, and we push up one more time for that wave 2 high. 1-to-1 would actually be this 1678, which would take us right up into this zone here of this 618 to 0.65 at golden pockets. So if we do actually look to push up here one more time, that could be a little zone we look to extend up to. The 1382 would be slightly higher here at this 1684, and then this 1236 would be at sort of the higher end of these moves. So we can see if we do actually move up here, face rejection of this zone, we could actually look to break down. Alternatively, like I said, we could actually be looking off this point here as already a completed move, and then we look to break down deeper. So this is just something we need to keep an eye on within the structure. If we do move down past this 1622, I'm just going to throw a mark onto there. Effectively what we could have is, so it's 16 22 29. If we do move down past that zone, we could look for a bigger 5-wave structure here, and if this does play out effectively, what we would have is this continuation to the downside. The target zone for this would be roughly around this area here of the 1615 to the 1607. Until we actually get the structure developing, we can only work off of the fibs. So this could be a zone here that we actually look to move into, the 1615 to the 1607. If we do move down into this zone, we'd have to allow for the fact we'd have an additional 4th wave here, where this is a 1 2 3 4 and a 5, and this could actually look to extend deeper and push down into these zones if we're looking at this bearish count. So if we do move down past this 1555, effectively we can actually look to move deeper. However, we need to be careful of this fact that if we just have this as an A, B, and a C, and we complete into this area, or even slightly lower, we wouldn't have reached this impulsive area. So it could just be that this is an ABC, and actually we look to push to the upside. So yeah, that's basically what we're looking at for the downside within these moves. And I'm just going to quickly throw these into the micro down. There we go. Okay, so effectively now what's the other possibilities? We can look for that potential for the upside. So this is the other way we're looking at it, potentially having a fourth wave, which we can sort of adjust a little bit within this structure. My favorite areas to look at it is here. And I mean, we can potentially argue it's completed a fifth into this high point here. It has met the requirement effectively. So if I get it on this high point down into this low point here, we can argue that we have actually come up. We just actually fell short of it. So it is possible that it is actually completed there, but let's just throw this on here for now, and then we can talk about some of the options. So within this, we were talking about the potential that we could complete here and actually look for this third wave to break down from this point. Once again, it would either be in a WXY or potentially a zigzag to the downside, looking to target out this zone of this 1586 to this 1428 at a lower range. So we've got some interesting areas here of the previous structures. So if we do break down, it could be something like we come back and retest this. This would be a 382 retracement, this 1496 area, so that's possible that we could actually look to move into this zone and then look for this push to the upside. However, we could still see a little bit more upside within this, and the way we would be looking at that is there's a couple of ways of looking at it. So if this third wave isn't complete and we're looking to actually extend up higher here, effectively we have a couple of ways we can look at this. So that's the wrong one. This is down. Okay, so this is a way that I've been had a look at it this morning, and I thought, okay, this is a viable option. Technically speaking, if we completed our fourth wave back here, we can argue that potentially we could see a diagonal play out where this is a 1, we get a 3-wave move down for a 2, and then we get a 3, a 4, and a 5 to the upside. So this is something that is still valid for as long as we hold below this 171468. If we do break up above that again, then this option would be less likely and effectively would be favoring one of the other ones. But for as long as we actually continue to break down here, if we look to find support at this 1-to-1, the 1607, so looking at this as a B, and a C to the downside, if we do actually come down here one more time, find support, it is possible that we could actually look for this wave 2 to play out here. Then we would have to be looking out for this potential of a 3, 4, and a 5. I've just drawn these lines here roughly at the moment. Unfortunately, until we actually form the third and the fourth wave, we don't have the actual lines if this is developing, but it could look to play out along these channels that we have here currently, or these trend lines rather. So if we do see a deeper move down here, finding support towards the 1607 area, it is possible we could start to see another 3-wave move to the upside as a 3, a 4, and a 5. So this is something that we can see play out. Though if we are looking at this move, if we do move down towards this 1-to-1 area, we cannot move higher than 1815 with this wave 3. Otherwise it would invalidate this potential unless it is becoming a expanding diagonal. But it wouldn't really make much sense given the current structure. So we'd have to see how that actually plays out. If we do move past this, that would mean that wave 4 had to be longer than this wave 2. So we'd have to have a couple of criteria being met at that point. But cannot go above this 1815 if we're looking at the diagonal for this wave 3. Okay, so effectively this could play out. We need to see how this happens. If we do manage to continue holding support zones here, we can look to other options, and we're going to talk about those options now. The same thing as we were pretty much talking about yesterday. We can look at this either as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're looking for a 5th wave to the upside, or alternatively we look at this as a 1, 2, 1, 2. If this is the case, we can potentially still look to push lower, where this becomes a B, and a C to the downside. Effectively our 1-to-1 for this, if that's the case, or for the current structure, would be back into the 1625. So be looking to form a double bottom here. So if we do get a move that actually just comes A, B, and C to the downside, the 1625 could be a support zone. Alternatively, if it does look to push a little bit deeper into this zone, this 1236 would line up quite nicely with the 618 area. And then deeper down, we've got the 618, which sort of lies into that 786 zone. So if we do move down, this could be some potential areas we look to move into. So that would be looking at this as an A, B, and a C wave to the downside, effectively something like this. So this is just looking for that bullish potential that we could get a bigger move up here, though confirmation would only really come by moving above this 1858 area. If we do move above that, effectively we would have the potential to rally another time here, potentially up to this 1981 to this 1927, and that would push this this third wave target up higher, and then I'd still be looking at us within this green third wave at that point. And then from that point, we'd be looking for an additional fourth and a fifth. So we just need to see this area here has a lot of interpretations that you can make out of it. So we just got to give it that time. The alternative within this we're still looking at is the potential we still have a simple impulse here. I was looking at this as a 1, 2, and then looking for this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we didn't actually come up again for this. So I mean, it's not very likely that this is playing out. The only way you could say is we've got an A, so we're getting a 1, 2, 1, 2, but effectively once we break down below this 1645, it becomes invalid. So I don't really think that that is playing out anymore. The only way we can argue is we could get a diagonal here as a fifth potentially. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. It's like I said, it's not very likely at this point. But if we do start to move up, this could still be something that plays out, where we get this as a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we actually look to push up higher. But if we start to develop structure like this as a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then I think rather it would be following this other count here, where we are looking for this like this, because if we do have a series of 1s and 2s here, that would mean that it's actually going to push up quite strong, and that would look rather to me that we are actually getting an extension and potentially looking to move up towards this 1858. So that's basically the bullish count that I'm looking at within this move. Invalidation comes by dropping down below this 155.18. If we move below that, then it's potentially the fact that we've actually completed here and we're forming a bigger corrective structure for a fourth wave, and then actually we're looking to push up from that point lower down here. So that's all the options that we're looking at today. I hope you found them useful. If you did, oh, there was one more thing actually. If we want to, I haven't also written off the idea of a triangle here yet. This triangle potential would be more likely to be part of this count, though, if we do see it play out, where this is a fourth wave triangle. Because of the size of it, I would attribute it more to this white count, where the wave 2 is a lot bigger. So this wave 4 would make more sense if it was the triangle that was matched up. So we need to just be aware that we could see something like this develop within this space, where we do get a series of 3 wave moves playing out here. And then we just actually look to break up from there for a 5th wave. This would be range bound for quite a while, though. Like, we would win with this move effectively, as long as we don't break up back above this 1714 and we maintain above this 1518, we could actually just see this range bound move here, where we get an, like I said, an A. This would become a B. We'd be looking for the C wave. The C wave can get more complex, so we would have to be on the lookout for that. Sometimes what these will do is we can develop as a A, B, C, then we'd get a corrective move to the upside again, and then have like a double zigzag for the C wave. So this is something that can play out. So we need to just give it a bit of time. If we just move range bound here, it is possible that either, like I said, we're getting a WXY, or alternatively we continue to bounce up and down between these channels and form this bigger triangle here. So that is just one of the possibilities. If we do just remain range bound here, we could have a triangle, in which case this 4th wave would actually be something like this, and then we'd actually look to push up one more time in a 5 wave move directly. If we do get a bigger triangle like this, it would actually indicate to me that this is going to be the end of the structure, because these are pre-terminal moves. So what that means is that they tend to happen at the end of structures. So this is something that we could still see play out, where we get a final push up here after some more range bound movements within the structure. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and why not leave us some feedback down below. We're always happy to hear from you. In the description below, you'll find a link to the Discord. Why not come check it out? It's free to join. Once you're in the general chat area, just add mention a member of staff and we'll be happy to help you out with anything you may need. Also in the description below, you'll find affiliate links to BYBIT and PrimeXBT, both great exchanges that we use on a regular basis when we're doing our trading. If you don't have an account with them, using the affiliate link does help support the channel. And as well, there are deposit bonuses, which you can find out more information when you click on the links. Okay, everyone, I hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you in the next one. Take care out there.